Welcome back to the Gamecocks Football Captain's Log. As always, I am your host, Brandon Silvers, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, the captain of Morris Island Charters, Captain Petey. Captain Petey, how are you doing?
Doing good.
Good. Well,
Better than
pounding the table last week. Rank the Cocks. Rank the Cocks. You kept screaming, rank the Cocks.
Rank them.
Yeah. Put the Cocks in the poll, whatever. And it happened. Number 23 in the AP Top 25. How do you feel about that? Too high, too low, just right?
Honestly, I think we're better than that. Just on the strength of schedule we played, and their ranking system makes no sense. If you thought that LSU and A&M and Alabama were these really good teams, that they were ranked in the top 10 and stuff to start this, early on in the season, and we barely lose to those teams, it just doesn't make any sense. Obviously, the L does count against you, but we lost by a total of 5 points against Alabama and LSU.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's kind of biased towards the teams they think are going to do well before the season even starts. Like, if you're not ranked in the preseason 25, then you've got an uphill battle. So kind of stinks, but I am happy to see us finally get recognition, even if it was a week late. We certainly looked like a top 25 team against Vandy. This was a game that I know we were a little nervous about as it got closer, but then I was not concerned heading into the game at all. And it did not feel like a close game at all. I felt like we dominated them, to me.
Well, we really did. And their only real weapon was Diego Pavia. And although, this was what was it, 7-0 at halftime.
Yeah.
Then we're up 14-7. They exploited some things into our defense and to allow Pavia to make plays. But if they don't have a mobile quarterback, then that's just a complete routing right off the bat. There's no way that Vandy is even close to in that game. What I was surprised about defensively was that how easily they were able to run up the middle on us. They were able to run up the middle, and also Diego was able to escape up the middle. They later on started to run him in these rolling plays to get him on the edge, which was I think was not really a great idea, because just you're asking, you're not going to give him opportunity. But it was a very boring game.
Yeah.
It just was not high action like we're used to.
Yeah. And you make a great point, because there were a couple of plays there where Pavia took off up the middle, and it's like, how many times are you going to let this happen before you put a spy on him or something? Because, he was killing us with that. And you would have guys, I can't remember who it was. There's one specific play where you can see, I think it was like a linebacker in coverage, and he's turning around looking at Pavia. Pavia is clearly past the line of scrimmage and taking off, but the guy is still running, covering his guy, even though he can no longer legally throw a forward pass. And I'm like, enough of this. Enough.
Yeah, it was not it took 3 quarters into the fourth quarter when we realized how to stop him from running, was just to not give him running lanes.
Yeah.
You give him pressure from all angles. You just shrink the pocket instead of trying to pierce through and then letting him escape around you.
And then we started beating the hell out of him at that point, I feel like.
Yeah, I think he got hurt with 6 minutes left.
Yeah.
He taken some hits all game, but it took us a while for us to figure out how to not allow him to escape. Because if we can, we're just better on all fronts than they were.
I think that was the difference for me this week, was that even though it took us a while, I was not really concerned, because we did appear to be just better than them. And it was like, this is just a matter of time.
Yeah, and it was really just offensively, we didn't have to do anything like too special. We'd keep feeding Rocket. Eventually, I kind of get like the Marshawn Lynch kind of vibe from him. Just let him keep pounding it, and eventually they're going to get tired of getting hit in the face by Rocket. And guess what happened? He breaks it loose a couple times, gets in the end zone.
Yeah, he was awesome. He also caught a touchdown pass. This guy, I don't know. Was it the week off, I guess, that got him healthy? Is that what did
Probably.
it? Because I can't imagine we've done anything. I'm going to ask you again. I ask you every week. Are you seeing anything differently with our play calling or just better execution?
It's better execution on the offensive line, but also it's Sellers being more comfortable in the pocket. He's not great by any means as far as like awareness and pocket presence because he still had a fumble. The fumbling problem is still an issue for him.
Yeah,
especially if somebody tackles him from behind. But I'm not seeing as many dumb plays out of that. A lot less shooting ourselves in the foot. We actually had a pretty good game as far as penalties go. Like I can't remember a time we had that few penalties.
Yeah, and that's really, I feel like when you have a defense that like we have, you just have to not mess up on the offensive end. Just don't mess up, and everything will be okay. And you're right, the fumble, you could see the fumble coming from a mile away because he just started running around, the ball's just waving it around like he doesn't think he can get tackled.
Hold the ball out here and run, I cannot. If I'm in the pocket, I cannot imagine you don't have that ball right here if you're trying to run with it.
Yeah, it's crazy. So still have to clean that up. But I feel like he did a pretty good job of spreading the ball around. Josh Simon again looks incredible.
Yeah, and Josh should have had another touchdown like that he missed, or Sellers missed him. He threw it to Harbor on the previous play for a big gain, but Simon was wide open in the seam, and it would have been a touchdown. Harbor is coming along. It's very awkward to watch.
Yeah.
He's like a deer with his legs are too long or something like that. He's fast as shit, but he's sort of figuring it out. But man, I wish I could see him streak down the field more. I don't know why we don't do that with him.
Yeah, we're very intent on making him learn the whole route tree, it would appear.
Yeah.
And he is finally making some catches off of that, like you said, but just send the kid long just a couple times to make us happy.
Just to put it out there that might happen, Yeah. Just really his Harbor's problem is he just needs to get some confidence.
Yeah.
Like he's not really a football player per se. He's more of a track guy. So we just got to get him more of a confidence, competent level where he's not worried about doing the right thing all the time.
Yeah, and I don't think he wasn't primarily a receiver in high school either, I don't think. So this is like new everything for him in terms of position, focusing on the sport more than part-time. So yeah, it's just kind of believing in yourself, Nick. You can do it, buddy. Like, we believe in you.
One thing I did notice the offense doing, which I don't really like, is like a true option play. Just, sprint to the left or the right with Rocket or Attaway as a pitch guy. And I think we did it with who got killed? Was it Larbadan? He pitched it to, or was it Mo, or was it Gerald? Was it Brown?
I think it was Jared Brown.
Yeah. I like a read option. I don't like the just pitch guy. That's old, done with. We're not Navy. We're not Army. We can get done with that.
Yeah.
Let's just not do that anymore.
Yeah. Thank you for your service, but no. Keep your offense.
It's also higher risk.
Yeah, especially we just talked about we got a young kid at quarterback who's having enough trouble holding onto the ball as is.
Yeah.
You mentioned Attaway. I do want to point out he has been balling as of late as well.
He has figured out that sometimes you have to be untackleable.
Yes. Yeah, just stay on your feet.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
So, man, just really a lot to like. I'm not used to being in this position. I don't even know where to go from here.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like there wasn't like huge numbers or anything going out there. We just went out there and just like, hey, we're just going to take care of business and get out of here with the W, and just not let Vandy score. We gave up a lot of yards. They had a lot of drives where they were in scoring position, but they just did not get points out of it.
One thing I do want to talk about with you, what is this that we do sometimes offensively where we play for a field goal? It's a long field goal. Herrera appears to be an average college kicker, and we're treating him like he is Parker White. He's not.
That was like not even he missed the field goal. Was it like a 30-yard field goal? It wasn't even hard. It's like, it wasn't a bad one. It just was off.
Yeah.
I have no confidence in Herrera to make a field goal.
No.
Luckily, this game, it didn't really come down to that needing that 3 points. But obviously, we needed the last game against A&M. That kind of is what really got us, kind of put the game out of reach, I guess, for us, and kept us tied at halftime. But special teams, Kai Kroger's great.
He's been fantastic.
Can Kai Kroger not kick a fucking ball? Can he? Let's
give it a shot.
Can he not do a field goal?
Just looked it up. It was a 42-yard field goal, which, I mean, at this point, I don't trust him out above 40 yards. I mean, I feel like he's been pretty consistent. He's not going to make those as often as a Kai Kroger. You're right. I would like to see Kai Kroger. Just, if it's a long field goal, stick him out there.
Can't be any worse.
No.
Right. The problem is not like necessarily his leg strength, which it doesn't have like elite leg strength, but it's fine. It's just accuracy.
Yeah.
He's not putting it between the uprights.
I find that helps.
I'm sure Kai can do it.
Yeah. I tell you what, he was awful last year, coming back from when he was incredible. Just a really bad year last year. He's got to be the best punter in the country this season. And I think I was reading that they were asking him to do like different stuff last year as a punter, like with his directional stuff and everything. I don't know why you would do that. Just let the motherfucker kick the ball.
Was last year his first year without Lebo? Or is this his first year?
That's a good question. I want to say last year, but someone will surely correct us if we're wrong. I know that. So I don't know. So what else from that game? Any other takeaways from that one?
Judge Collier almost had a fuck up. Pavia doesn't underthrow that one ball to touchdown. It was just a solid game. Nothing to write home about. We went into Vanderbilt, handled it. That's it. That's just what it was.
And sometimes you need that, because too often when that's all we've had to do, we've gone in and just completely fucked it up bad. So I appreciate the simplicity of it all.
Well, I think that's why this game scared us so bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not like, we'll go win the big game and then we'll just play a dud the next week.
Yeah.
So that's been our, in our repertoire since I can ever remember.
That's just kind of like a trademark of the program. No matter who's the coach, we'll do that. So
whenever we play Wofford, take Wofford.
Yeah. That one's going to hurt bad. So Mizzou on Saturday, they're number 24, 7-2. That one's 4:15 on the SEC network. Got them at home. This is how excited I am about Gamecock football, is that I watched Missouri and Oklahoma play each other. And it was one of the worst experiences of my lifetime. I've never seen two offenses refuse to do anything like those two offenses. I'm not kidding you. It took until the third quarter for either team to have a quarterback who was outgaining a punter through the air.
Jeez.
Like through the first half and part of the third quarter, I forget which punter it was.
The Oklahoma punter had that fake to the or like down to the 5-yard line. It was like 50 yards or something like that.
Yeah, he I think it was 43, and he was leading both teams in passing with 43 yards. If we don't, I will say, before I get ahead of myself, Drew Pine was starting for Mizzou. I have not seen anything on if Brady Cook is coming back.
Yeah, is he out for the year, or do we know what's going on?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything. I've been checking even like as I was setting up for this. I haven't seen anything. Even if he is here, I'm not overly concerned heading into this one. But if it's Drew Pine and we can't beat them with Drew Pine as their quarterback, I'm going to lose my mind. That guy is awful. And it's especially awful because my big concern with them, they have some really incredible playmakers at receiver.
Yeah.
He just can't get him the ball. He just can't get him the ball. And they would have lost that game if Jackson Arnold didn't completely lose his mind in the last minute of the game. I've never seen anybody, I can't believe they burned his red shirt against us because I've never seen anybody that incompetent at the end of a game.
So he had, I think it was in the first half, I don't know if it's first or second quarter, but like he just fumbled it, just dropped it. No one hit him, he just dropped it. And then the other fumble, like I don't think he barely got touched.
Yeah.
And fumbled it. And that is one thing that is so weird to me. Like, how, if there's a defender on you coming, why are you not securing the ball?
Especially, they were trying to get into field goal range to win it, but it was a tie game. They could have just gone to overtime.
As long as you don't fumble.
Yes. And then he's running around. He runs into a stiff breeze, and he like fumbles the ball 15 yards behind him, and they return it for a touchdown. Then, okay, we have to try to tie the game with a touchdown.
Picking up that ball. That defender just looked weird picking up the ball.
Yeah. So then they get the ball back, and clearly they need a miracle. Yeah. But he's doing things like throwing it out to the tight end for a loss of 1 when they have no timeouts and they need to go 70 yards. Like just like weird decisions. Like, what are you doing?
I think it was like 8 seconds left. He takes off.
And he just took off running.
And then he tries to like flip it to somebody, and then they try to flip it back to him, and it just goes out of bounds.
I had never seen a last minute of a game look like that. It was unreal. I thought I was hallucinating. And so Mizzou won the game, but it was definitely a case where Oklahoma just gave them the game, basically.
Yeah.
And if we can't beat them, if Drew Pine is the starting quarterback, then I don't know what we're doing here. This is ridiculous. I mean, that guy, respectfully, terrible.
So, Missouri is – I'll tell you that. I think we definitely win this game, especially as it's at home. But we are due for a letdown game. And Missouri is just one of those teams that just seems to always they never go away unless I think they got blown out they got blown out against A&M and Alabama maybe, but every other game with them it's just like there's something that happens just to make them get back in it because they should have lost to Auburn. They've had a couple of they should have lost last week. There's just something about them keeps them in a game. So they're scary to me.
Yeah, and I think that's like doubly true when they play us. I feel like they always get in our way. They're just one of those teams that we see them and we just can't handle it. I don't know what happens. And like I said, they got Luther Burden and I think that Theo Weiss Jr. is his name. They are incredible receivers. And you do get more nervous if Cook is back.
Yeah.
But just watching Pine unable to get the ball to either one of those guys really consistently, I mean, they still, when they did get it, they made plays. I could throw it to those guys and get significant NIL money.
Yeah.
And he's throwing it in the dirt. He's throwing it in the stands. I don't know what he's doing. If we can't, if of all the years to face Mizzou, if we can't beat this Mizzou team, if Pine is starting, I'm gonna have to go on them Aaron Rodgers ayahuasca trips and figure out what's going on with me.
Might do that anyways.
Yeah.
So Oklahoma's up front. They are just as good as we are, and we're probably better.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I think Missouri's offensive line is decent. They're not great, but I just can't. I don't see how we don't cause havoc in that backfield and have Pine just begging to come out.
Yeah.
This should be, from everything I've seen so far at Missouri, this should be an easy win. I don't believe that'll happen, but on paper, that should be an easy win.
Yeah. And I know people they're gonna go look at the box score because I just pulled it up and they're gonna say, well, Drew Pine threw for 3 touchdowns. I'm telling you, if it's anyone else, it would have been 8 touchdowns. Also, it was like they had to return a fumble for a touchdown to win it at the end. Oklahoma lost 4 fumbles that game. They fumbled 6 times and lost 4 of them, and they still almost beat them at home. So just want to be clear, if you're just reading the box score and you didn't torture yourself by making yourself watch that game, you're going to have to take my word for this one. So it's time to talk to the Dolphins. Have you seen the spread on this one yet?
I've seen a couple. I don't know what it is at the moment.
Okay.
I think I've seen it at, I think ESPN had it at -10, and somebody else had it at -13.5. I don't know what it is at the moment, though.
So ESPN opened at -14. It's currently at -12.
Okay.
Where are the Dolphins laying down their entertainment porpoises against Mizzou?
So the Dolphins really like us to win it, but they think that it's a little bit of a letdown week, and take Missouri with the points.
Yeah, I think. I mean, when it opened at 2 touchdowns, I was stunned. Even though I'd watched it, I'd watched Mizzou because for the reasons you mentioned. But man, I'd like to think we can win by at least 10. But again, that's under the current spread.
Yeah.
But I do feel confident about this, and I'm going to be so devastated if we show up next week.
I would not be surprised if we beat them by like 30. But I think they're that team that just wants to never go away.
Yeah.
And
I hate them.
That they're real fucking annoying about it. And
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's hard for me to have a lot of confidence in Gamecock football because I've been disappointed so many times before.
It's not our fault. They did this to us.
Yeah.
So I do want to, before we leave, raise a scenario to you because you did make the case for winning out and making the playoffs. So it looks like ESPN they've given us a number if we win out, a percentage of a chance. What do you think the percentage chance we have to make the playoff if we win out is according to ESPN?
According to ESPN, I would say...
Weird way to word that question. I apologize.
Yeah. If it's got to be like 10 or 15%, like somewhere in there.
If we win out, I did not double check this.
Yeah.
But if we win out, they give us a 47% chance of making the playoff.
What?
Yeah.
No.
I guess they watched the episode last week. They heard your argument.
Did they actually go back and like look at our games this time? Like, have they actually seen what's going on in our games?
So we're going to need a lot of help, and it's going to be incredible if we do it. And so I do wonder how good
that'll knock out Missouri. That'll knock out Clemson. I don't know what's Clemson right now, 20-something, 19?
Yeah, I think they're just ahead of us. Or they might be right around 24. I'll try to pull it up. But yeah, so we it's gonna get real weird.
Yeah, so we'll have there'll be an ACC champion in there, but that's going to be like SMU versus Clemson.
Probably still Miami, right?
Yeah, Miami. Yeah,
Clemson 17.
Okay.
So SMU versus Miami. Currently, the SEC teams ahead of us in the top 25: Texas, Tennessee, Bama, Ole Miss, Georgia, A&M, and LSU. What?
LSU.
Okay.
Yeah, the Alabamas and the LSU are just getting too much credit based on previous years. They're not as good as we or like they thought they were. They're really good, but they're not like
Not what we're used to.
like SEC schools that we're accustomed to. Just who does Tennessee have left to play? Do you know?
Let's see. So Tennessee 8-1
I guess
currently.
Last week of the season.
They've got Georgia this weekend, so that's going to be a huge one.
Okay.
Then UTEP and Vandy.
I mean, I guess it's theoretical that Vandy could beat them, but
I think they're probably
lose to Georgia. They probably don't lose to Vandy, but I think Tennessee goes to Vandy. That'll be a tough game for them.
Yeah.
So who do we think is going to be in the SEC championship game? Texas.
To me, that feels like Texas and Tennessee.
Yeah.
I mean,
probably Texas or A&M versus Tennessee.
Yeah. And then we got, let's see, Georgia. I really think Georgia loses this weekend against Tennessee. And I think that they have not looked good. I think they're done.
So Georgia
that'll be their third loss.
Does Alabama jump back in it somehow? They've only got 2 losses, right?
So they got it pretty easy. Mercer, Oklahoma, Auburn to finish the season. Obviously, they've got 2 losses.
They should win all.
Yeah,
now,
that should be
Auburn. There's always weird stuff that happens between them and Auburn.
Yeah. Ole Miss, Florida, and Mississippi State left. Those should be wins.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see who else we got. A&M. A&M still got Texas left. And I think you have to put us ahead of A&M because we beat them so badly.
Yeah. And A&M, like their schedule is so much easier than ours.
Yeah. And then LSU, they've lost back-to-back weeks. 2 tough programs, but they did lose to A&M, who we beat. Bama blew them out. We hung tough with Bama.
Yeah.
I do think based on like who's hot heading into the playoff, you take us over them.
We are clearly a team on the rise where those other teams are, coming down.
So what do we do? How do we make this happen?
So there's just got to be a lot of chaos. And the thing is, when you throw in the Big Ten and the ACC schools in there that are playing nobodies every week, how do we jump them when they're not going to play? I mean, it's probably going to come down to somehow the conference championship week. Those teams will knock each other out, and we're going to slide into like number 12 or 10 or something like that. Yeah,
it's going to be real weird, and we have to see. I believe we're recording this Tuesday. I believe tonight or tomorrow the playoff picture comes out. Last week they had 4 SEC teams in, and then A&M was the second team out. So we need some help, but I mean, 47% chance.
It's
unreal.
Who are their mathematicians?
I don't know. They probably graduated from the University of South Carolina.
Good God. That is astounding. I cannot believe.
Yeah. So I know of those teams that were in, Georgia did lose. I would imagine they will drop backwards. They have to.
Yeah.
And if they lose this week, they're probably they got to be done. I mean, 3 losses.
Yeah, and
if you're taking a 3-loss team, it has to be us.
They haven't won like a game going away in a while.
No. Yeah.
They skirted by with Florida. They haven't really looked good.
No.
In a minute.
So I guess their big wins would be Clemson to open up the season, and then Texas. But
Clemson probably did, if we went out, Clemson probably doesn't even finish in the top 25.
Yeah. So I don't know, just something to look forward to. But yeah, I think we covered it all, didn't we?
I think so. At this point, there's not much left we can say.
Damn. Is this the most optimistic we've been since we've recorded this in the past 2 seasons? It's got to be, right?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
We've been absolutely delirious with and furious rage.
We're recording this at night. I'm just glowing.
Yeah.
So, well, shit. Let's go beat Missouri and show them who the real Columbia is this weekend. And then if you want to take a tour, which you should, with the happiest Gamecock football show host in the history of the world, look in the show notes, book something with Captain Petey if you're in the Low Country area. Make a special trip to do it. I don't know. And, I guess we'll catch you next week.
Bye-bye.